It took a pandemic to shut us down, and it's disappointing.
It's another quiet day at Surrey's Roundup Cafe, the 40-seat breakfast diner limited to this small makeshift patio amid BC's circuit breaker restrictions.
You go from breaking even to losing money, a few days in a row, and not knowing when the restrictions are going to be lifted.
Hard times for a small business that flourished for more than 60 years. It opened in 1959, a time when this booming metropolis was in its infancy, the building one of the few remaining remnants of a different era.
Back in the 70s when the Dell and the Flamingo nightclubs were rocking and this place is open 24/7, a lot of people would come here after the bar shut down and have fries and gravy.
A piece of history owners say won't survive the once-in-a-century pandemic. With COVID-19 infections mounting, driven by a rise in variants, restaurants have been informed to expect an extension of the indoor dining ban.
It is unfortunate, and I hear from people who work in those industries, people were doing their best, and in some cases it became very challenging. And yes, staff people were becoming ill, and people were pushing the limits.
Stakeholders call it another blow to the food and beverage industry, which has been on the ropes since the pandemic started. The province is giving up to $10,000 in grants to restaurant owners, but for many, it just isn't enough.
It's like the aunt who gave you a present for Christmas. You really appreciate it, but you sort of thought you could have done better. In the last 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks of this closure, it's probably cost the industry $500 million.
After more than half a century, the Roundup is ready to take its final bow.
To keep losing money and try to think it's going to be over one day, pretty tough right now. So it looks like after all these years of being in business, that's probably what we'll end up doing is probably by the end of the month, yeah.
A pandemic that's claimed lives and businesses, with many more still at risk. John Hernandez, CBC News, Surrey.